Okay, so I need to first get my domain sorted out, and that's what I'm trying to do here in Cloudflare. So I use this to manage my domain. I can't, I'm trying to remember if my domain is actually here or somewhere else, but let me see. Okay, I think the domain I want to use is actually here. So I want to host the API in this part. So these are my DNS. So the API is going to be hosted in this IP. I think I have that pushed across already. That's this IP. So that will be, this points to this, but I want it to be, I don't want to use just one API. I want to be able to capture as many tenants. So I'll just say P. So that will be p.assetGear. So I will use that. Do I want to make it proxy or not? Okay, let me do that and see. So this should allow me to be able to do something like this. That's the p dot this. So that should point to this one. Okay, so how do I make that server responsive to that? That's the difficult part. So we go to the box. This is the box that is this is the server that is holding that everything is going to be channeled to us. I already have my stuff working locally. Okay. So what I want to do now is to get my files on the server. So this is the server. Okay, so let me connect the file to the server on my local system. I have a plugin I can use or extension. So this is it here, AssetGear Mobile. So I have this plugin, it's called SFT. Yes, this is it here, SFTP. And what this does is that it allows me to connect directly to a host. I can do automatic upload to the host. So what I want to do is that remote part. Only backend folder. I hope it will be able to look through my directory and focus on that backend folder. So this is remote. This is remote view. No, I don't want to use remote view. I want it to focus more on this, not remote. I need to focus on my own local file. So I have to look at the documentation, I guess. So this will help me out. So I think the documentation should be SFTP. That's extension. And what this does is that I don't need to use this one. So, and it helps me out when I make any code change. It will just sync to the one online. Okay, so nothing is coming out here. So let me look at the documentation online. So I want to work on my own local parts because this is the remote parts. This one is okay. But I want to be able to do my own local parts. I hope it has local parts. So I'm looking for how I can specify my local parts. So I've seen how to do it. So we are supposed to use context. So this is supposed to help me to actually achieve it here, this context here. Okay, so let me give it a try. So say my Go server, my host is this. My username is that. No password. Then this is supposed to be backend. I'll resolve this later. Then we should be able to provide the key in which to upload everything to. So that's a private key where the whole stuff is. Okay. So this part is not correct. Good. Now the next thing is for us to identify where the file is going to be on the server. So I have other projects on the server. I want to see the way I handle it. So I think I have one API endpoint here. So it's supposed to be the folder. So asset gear API. API/p or .p. Okay. Okay, so let me create that folder online. So that will now be asset gear API -b. So now that becomes a live part. This is my local context, and when I make anything, it should upload. So a way to test if that is working is to try and connect to the Go server directly online, which is happening here right now. So to see if this protocol is working, I think it's good. Even though it's blank, it shows that it's working because we don't have any file there. The next thing is for me to start uploading my file to the server, and I can simply do that by just right clicking and uploading. So there are some things that I don't need to upload. By the way, the whole of this backend is going, so I don't need a temp. This temp is for stuff that are running online, so I can actually push everything. Let me just test this one. There are options here that say sync local to remote, or just say simply upload. It will just upload the folder entirely to your directory. So you have it there, it has done that. A way to test is for us to check the remote session, which is here. And if you try and check again, let me refresh, we should have our doc sitting right there. So that's how we push our changes up. There are other means. You can use Git and what have you. We introduce Git later on, but for now, that's what I think I should go and use Git. Okay, I'll use Git later on because that's what I use for other projects. That's workflow. I'll use Git workflow later on in the project, but I just want to get this out as fast as possible. So the next thing I do is to push everything. Even though I'm going to change this needs to change. So I need to create both local and the local one, which is this one, and then I need to create production version of this. When I'm doing that, I'm going to shut down the screen so that you guys will not see my production stuff. Okay, so let me push everything. I've done this one. I'll push the rest by doing like so. I don't need to push the rest. So I push upload file, and that will upload everything. Now, while that one is uploading, the next thing is you have to compile your Go code online, obviously, or on the server. So what I just did is just to do upload. And this is the server. There's going to be quite a lot of configuration we need to do. Another one is also SSL installation. I don't know if I want to depend on the SSL for Cloudflare. Let me check if it will. Okay, it has installed something for me, but the server needs to be running at, I think I have several servers running here. I think I will put it on 9901. That's what I will use to run it. Most of my server happen to be 9900, so I will just have like incremental stuff based on the server I'm running, because I have a lot of Go server running on the server. Okay, so let's go into the system, and I think everything has finished uploading. We then need to find our Go code. That's asset API P. So this is our stuff. We're good to go. How do I increase the font size of this? Let me see. Okay, so the next thing for me is to do quite a lot of stuff. So let's do, I think it's going to, so I want to do documentation stuff. So if I do swag initialize, it does this API stuff for me, try to generate all the things that I need is all there, and that's the idea. So these are for people that have been following the stuff. It has done the documentation for all these things. Or before I even continue, I think I need to also point to what the server is going to be. So if I go here, I need to make some changes. So the server is going to be p.assetgear.net. So that's what the server is going to be. So that needs to be highlighted there. And let me even start changing the environment variable as well. So I'm gonna make another one, and this is gonna be my local one. So I'm gonna call this one dev. So this one is going to, so the one live, I'm gonna put this to be, I can't change this one for now because this is supposed to be secret. So cookie domain is going to be p.assetgear.net. So these other ones are going to be secret. I'm going to edit them off screen, which I think I can start doing right now. Let me see if it will work. So this needs to be edited off the screen. Okay, so just wanted to know that that editing is working. Okay, so my mode is 0 for 1 for production. I'm gonna hit this one as 1 for production. Then these ones are all okay. This one are all okay. The app URL is gonna remain like this for now. So database, I'm not gonna change. Okay, so let me start changing it locally, and I'll just present this one to you guys to see while I work on the local stuff. Okay, so that said, okay, so let's move on. I think we can then push our latest updates. So now that we have our latest update there, I can actually try and call. Okay, we also need to know the ports. So So I use 9090. I don't think I've used 9090 before. But this port needs to also be dynamic. So let me quickly write some small code, which I always try to avoid writing, but I don't have a choice. We need to specify the port here. Nah. Initialize environment app ports. So we have domain. Do we really need to have this port separate? Okay, let me leave it like this for now and then see how it goes. So let's go back to our terminal. So I have to build that again because of the new change. Then let's first run the server and see if it works. Oh, it's gonna break because of the connection to the database. So let me try and fix the connection to the database. Then we'll come back. Let me go to the environment variable and connect the database. So password. Username. Hosts. Password. Can't seem to remember the password to the server. That's strange. How do I get in password? So I'm trying to get out the password. What's environmental variable? Whoa. Okay. I can't remember the password. I have to generate a new password. I can't remember the password. Okay, so right now I'm a little bit stuck because I can't remember my own password to get to the server. So let me see if I can bypass that. So I will start the server without the passkey. So let's go ahead and see if the server will start. It won't start, but let me run the build and see what I get. So eventually it's going to build it, but it's not going to be able to run it. Okay. Whoa. So I got no space left on my server. Interesting. So let's do some server cleanup.